Welcome to the Cross the Line Podcast. My name is Carlos Smith, and today's episode is sponsored by Charlene's Home Cooking on 1136 East Blackstock Road in Moore, South Carolina. Charlene's Home Cooking is a family restaurant that cooks like grandma. Fresh veggies, meats, cook to order, cakes, pies, cobbler, tea, Kool-Aid, and lemonade. We want you to feel at home anytime you come. Monday, Thursday, Saturday from 11 to 6, Friday and Sunday from 11 to 7, and close on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. We do meat and 2 sides, meat and 3 sides, and also a veggie plate. Everything is fresh, and we hope to see you sometime. So thank you, Ms. Charlene, for sponsoring this episode. And today, we are in Columbia, South Carolina, with our special guest, the entrepreneur of the Twist here in Columbia, South Carolina, Mr. Ken Walker. How you doing?
Doing good, man. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. Thank you for having us, man. I really appreciate it.
Man, you with me.
Oh yeah. But I know you say you have a lot going on, and I like to call you a serial entrepreneur because you've been to a lot of different things. But starting out, can you tell us how long have you been in business?
In business, I've been in business since 2012. Up under another name at the time, Ken's All-Star Cart, and a hot dog stand.
Okay.
So since 2012.
And how did you make that transition from the hot dog stand to the Twist?
Failure. I failed a lot until I became successful. I took the hot dog stand, I built that from scratch, from Harbor Freight Tools and Lowe's, with under $1,200. I could buy like a shady $24.99 DVD. Built the hot dog stand from like wooden parts, got it approved, started selling boiled peanuts because I really couldn't afford the hot dogs at the time. Got the money up, started selling hot dogs. Thought I was gonna be booming. Went downtown Columbia. Yeah, I didn't do so well. Took that, built upon that, built a cart. After the cart, I failed. I failed again. Started doing like different types of Chinese food, Korean style food. Didn't really take off like that. And then on my birthday, April 26, 2016, I switched over and started doing seafood.
So what did you say? What would you say made you say that it was a failure? Though? Was it not making the sales, or
it wasn't making the sales, and at the time it wasn't meeting my expectations. We all have a goal that we want to reach in life. We all have a timeline. Even though it may be unrealistic, I was like, by this time I should be doing this. Granted, we should all give ourselves times, but I felt like I pushed myself.
right?
And it wasn't profitable. It was costing me more money to actually run the business than for me to let it go.
And at the time, did you have a full-time job and doing that on the side, or was it just strictly the?
By the time the hot dog stand came, I had just quit my full-time job. I had just put in my 2 weeks notice that didn't last 2 weeks. So yeah, I just quit. So I was all in.
All in. And when you went to these different locations, did you get approved to go to these locations, or was it something that was kind of?
At first I did get approved. I'm not gonna say I did everything the right way, so that would be wrong. At first I was just going to spots, talking to some people, but if they weren't out there, I was just setting up. Right. And then I just started asking questions and everything, trying to figure out the rules and regulations. And then once I started learning the rules, I was like, okay, I need certain licenses for this area, licenses for that. So yeah, it was trial and error.
How important was it for you, like finding the perfect spot for your location? How big is that?
It meant a lot because when people don't know you, sometimes it's better to be out at the front. If people know you, then your brand can be in the back and people still come. But if you're in the back and no one knows that you're there, so it's definitely, when you're starting off, being in the front is the first and pretty much the only thing you should be trying to focus on is location, location, location.
So making that transition, what made you, when you went to the crab legs, what made you say, okay, I want to do crab legs, and what was the seafood, and what made it stick?
What made it stick was, I remember I went home, I had just failed, I was about to quit the cart. 2016 after my birthday, I went to speak with my granddad. He stays in Decatur, Georgia, and I was just like, my granddad was like, hey, go get me some seafood from down the street. I'm like, this is dead, like we call it Decatur, East Atlanta. All right, okay, cool. I went down there, stood in line for over 7 hours. For seafood. Like this is on my birthday. So I could have been doing other stuff with my money and time. So at literally 11 o'clock I got there, they didn't open 12. I was number 72 in line. Waited till I think it was like 4:35ish, and I finally got my first plate. And I was like, yo, this is a hit. They don't have anything like this in Columbia. I took the rest of my birthday money, I ain't even finished my birthday, I ain't gonna lie to you. I bought some crab legs, some shrimp, came with a butter sauce, and I was like, yo, I'm heading down to Columbia. That was the turning point for all of this. Was that one day on my birthday.
And I know you said you were from Atlanta. Were you still living in Atlanta at that time, or were you actually living in Columbia?
I was in Columbia. Like, I was full-fledged in Columbia trying to make things happen.
Okay. And then you just brought it up here to Columbia?
Yeah, I just brought it up here. It was a trip. I actually visited my granddad on the weekend. I was going to give up the car. And that weekend turned into life-changing.
So how did you actually come up with the store? Was it actually a food truck, or was it a cart, and then the storefront? Or
The store came when I won a national food truck competition.
wow.
So, April 26th, I turned my life around. By May, I got a phone call and several emails from Tom's English Muffin saying, do you want to compete in the national food truck competition? I thought it was fake. I ignored it. I thought it was spam, because anytime you see $25,000, you think it's fake.
Yeah, exactly.
So they finally called me 3 times, like, yo, be serious. You just got to do this on the spot. Had to come with the recipe. As a matter of fact, I got it back there, the Pineapple Express. Came with the recipe. I had 5 weeks worth of competition. It's me versus every other city in the United States. I beat out every other city. They gave me $25,000. Now, yeah, I could have did so with that window split, but nah, I took that and reinvested it back into this place. So all my money went right back in here.
Wow, that's big. So you took the money and opened up a store. Do you do most of your business in a food truck though, or was it just that's what they call the event?
It was a food cart. It wasn't even a truck. I couldn't even afford a truck like with an engine in it. I had to get a cart and pull behind it.
Right.
So no, the majority of business, once that competition was over, this was my next project. So I still have the cart, but I run the storefront more.
So okay, so mostly all your business traffic comes through here.
Oh yeah, it comes through here, yeah, most definitely.
Do you still do any kind of other events or tournaments? Or?
I don't, and I'll tell you the reason why I don't. I know a lot of people may disagree with me on this, but the one thing I figured out is people will trick you into doing events. They'll say, hey, we have 3,000 people coming to this event, it's promoted. But you gotta take into consideration, they might have 20 food trucks out there. Out of the people that's coming, they may not even want your food. People are gonna go to what's cheaper. So right now you cut down your percentages more and more and more, when I can just bring the same crowd to me and make 100% profit.
Right, and it's costing you more.
It's costing me more, right?
Right. So that's smart. So how about when you got to the store? What was kind of like? Talk about opening day. How was that?
Opening day was a dream come true, because now I have a storefront. I'm no longer out in the rain. You know, different weather conditions. I don't have to worry about a broken tire. So when people was coming in, I was like, oh, they coming in for me. Like, I know that you're coming in for food. It was crazy, it was hectic, and I had family working back here. So, you know, family, and you know how that goes. But I really enjoyed it because it showed me that people were following my craft.
How did you generate that buzz? Was it kind of like word of mouth? Was it handing out flyers to promote opening day, or?
It was word of mouth. It was more word of mouth than anything, and social media presence. It was more like, here in Columbia, nobody really knew who I was, so I had to create a whole different presence. I had to take a whole different approach. And so even with the restaurant, my different approach was only being open 2 days out of the week. So it's a line man.
Exactly. Was that kind of like your strategy, just being open 2 days out of the week, or you kind of open do more days than that?
You get the freshest seafood like on Thursday. So I get our seafood from Charleston and Savannah. Some of the boats come in actually on Wednesday and get it on Thursday. So I didn't want frozen seafood. So I wanted like fresh stuff. So it just turned into like a Friday and Saturday event. But the thing about it is, I think in the South, people have the wrong impression that you have to be open 5 days out of the week. No, because you will go broke doing that, because you got to pay for overhead, also have to pay for staff.
Right.
So only out of those 5 or 6 days, you're only making money 2.5, maybe 3 days. Why not just make your money?
Right. Because I remember when I was in high school, I was telling Calvin over here that in high school I worked at a seafood up in Union in Buffalo, South Carolina. We were open on Thursday, Friday, Saturday. That was my high school job, and I hated it. I was busting tables, and I hated it. But you know, like, and they were pretty much the same way just weekends or whatever. But it was something different, you know. I knew it wasn't for me,
Right.
but it was just something to get that experience or whatever.
Yeah, you learn. You live and you learn. I learned that a lot of restaurants I worked for, they were opening, but they weren't making the money.
Right.
And they were always trying to do sales and get people to come in on those days. And when you do sales, you're cutting in on your profit still.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of like you need to make a business decision. Just because it's antique doesn't mean you need to keep it.
Exactly. Absolutely. How many employees would you say you have right now?
Right now, I want to say 4. I'm trying to expand.
And also, starting out with a business, what was the biggest thing that you worried about to start out? Because a lot of times you hear that restaurants only last a couple of years, if that, and then they end up going out of business. What was your biggest worry?
My biggest worry, let's see. Actually, because I knew my talents. So I want to say that my biggest worry was not even the business, it was the city. And by the city, I mean, is the city going to grow? Because what happens is, I found in Columbia, if 2 events go on, it's shutting everything down in the city. So the city needed growth. The more people, the more that people can actually expand and go to different things simultaneously. So my biggest concern wasn't even for my business, it was things around my business, the city growth.
Would you say like football season and stuff brings in traffic for you though, or is it kind of?
We have a lot of traveling customers. So I did that on purpose. Like behind you, you see like a wall.
Mm-hmm.
I do that because, granted, here football season is hot. But at the same time, what are you gonna do when football season ends? You have to have a plan. So what I did was I started orchestrating things around football season and around colleges.
Right. That's good. And how do you feel like the community? How receptive have they been so far? Do you feel like?
Oh, my like community is major. When I say major, the same people that support me now support the cart. And when I say support the cart, I mean that we beat out California food truck by 300,000 votes. It's huge. So my support, hats off to everybody that comes in. Like that's why I'm always saying welcome to the twist, because that support got me this.
How did you manage to stay humble and focused? Because like you said, you beat out so many different companies and they've probably been doing it for so long that you managed to beat all of them and win the event. How did you stay so humble and focused?
Well, first you have to remember, all this can be taken away from you at any time. Nothing's guaranteed. But at the same time, you have to believe in yourself. Now, being humble doesn't mean that you have to be apologetic to everybody. It just means that you understand where you came from and you understand how you got there. And you keep that focus all the time and treat every day like this is your first day out. Because someone's always behind you trying to get your spot. So never get too comfortable.
What was the feeling I saw on your profile on Instagram? You said one of your friends told you that they saw your business on the billboard. Talk a little bit about that. How did that make you feel?
Seeing myself on a billboard, when you don't really know too much about billboards, when you see things on a billboard, you're like, oh, they got money. You big, like you're a superstar. Like, you know, when you see things on the billboard, you're just like, oh, you made it. Right. So when someone say, hey, I saw you on the billboard, I'm like, oh, I must have made it. You paid attention to me. Because it's more like people recognize you now. Like when you go out in the grocery store, old people tap you on the shoulder, ask you what you got to eat. You know, people recognize you. So it's a different feeling, but it's a great feeling.
Did they tell you you were actually going to be on the billboard, or was it just kind of like?
Well, no, I was just. It was a shocker. It was a shocker. I know they mentioned it before, but you know how people mention stuff. Then all of a sudden you appear, you're just like, oh, this is real. So yeah, that's.
I know it makes you feel good. Even now, for me, I'm not on any billboard, but sometimes I have people tell me they'll reach out to me and say, I love what you're doing, keep going, and that stuff means a lot to you. So, and my thing is, you know, just stay focused, stay humble, and just keep going. So, what would you tell people in this position, like they want to start their own business, that may not have everything that they want? What would you tell them about how to start their business? What advice would you give?
The best way to make your company better or to make yourself better is free. When I was really extremely broke, I took the majority of my days I spent at Books A Million. I spent at Books A Million reading marketing books, technique books. I was not a day that if I was broke, I had time. Even now that I have a little bit of money, I still have time to read. I think the problem that people have is they want everything handed to them instead of going out to find the knowledge themselves.
And I think a lot of it also is, like you said, you failed so many times and then you finally succeeded in something. You weren't afraid of failure. And I think a lot of that kind of hinders people as well. They don't want to fail. And I just feel like you just have to take that chance. If you never take that chance, you never know what could be.
So opinions are going to kill you. And most people they're not scared of failure of themselves, they're scared of the opinion of other people when they fail. So they're scared of, if I fail, what are you going to think about me? Like you gonna come back years later and be like, I remember the time you was broke. I don't care. I remember the time I couldn't sell anything. I was broke. I can tell people that. But I think people care so much about what other people think that they can never grow beyond the opinions of others.
Social media.
Social media is a
killer.
They created these paradises in the hood.
Yeah. and like I was saying yesterday, I was talking to somebody else yesterday down in Atlanta. One of the things that they were saying was like social media. So when you look on social media, it's like everybody is winning.
Right.
Everybody living their best life. They on these trips and doing all this and that. But at the same time, when you don't see all these pictures, they have so much other stuff going on.
Oh, yeah. It's more like I equate that to people and their followers. You might have 150,000 followers, but you got 200 likes. So you may be hot on social media, but your influence is not that high.
Right.
And so a lot of these people that you think are making money, if they can get $1 from all their followers, they wouldn't be doing what they're doing. Exactly. But they can't. A lot of them work 9 to 5 jobs with us, and they clock in. So no.
Yeah. So it's like don't pay attention to social media. Just focus on what you're trying to do. Stay and just keep going. You can't worry about the negativity.
You gotta stay consistent.
Talk about something else. You said eventually, do you plan on opening more locations?
Eventually, yes. I'm just not. My whole thing is, I'm the twist. The twist is named because everything I do has a twist. I'm not so eager to open up a restaurant because someone else said they're gonna open up a restaurant. Right. My thing, and this is what I tell a lot of people, this is what I focus on in life the most. You take nothing else from this interview. The opinions of other people will kill your business. A lot of people want me to open up in different spots. It doesn't mean that they're going to support. It just means that they want the convenience of it.
Yeah, this is their.
Most people want me to open up more days out the week. That means that they'll stop coming on Saturday and just come on Tuesday. Right. So still in the end, you're either losing or winning, but you're mostly losing. So a lot of people open up and go under because they listen to the opinions of other people.
Who do you share your thoughts with? Of course, everybody doesn't have your vision, so they don't see what you see. And when I talk to people, sometimes I talk to people and it's kind of like, they say, okay, well, good luck with what you're trying to do. They don't understand my vision and what I'm trying to go. But who do you talk to about your business advice and what you do?
That's actually a good question. In all honesty, for a lot of business advice, I talk to some of my frat brothers. Well, actually, one of my frat brothers. And the majority of the time, I talk to myself. Because the reason I say I talk to myself is not like I've never had a mentor. Like, granted, I have a mom and a dad. But for them to understand the level that I was on, they weren't on that level. So a lot of things I research and then take it from there. That's why I failed a lot, because I never had it. So when I talk about different things, I'm like, yo, I wonder, a lot of the greatness that people see or see things that happen as successful is just me saying, F it, I'm gonna do it. That's it. It's just me saying that and then moving on. Like if it works, it works. If it doesn't,
it's like the more you talk about it, I mean, it doesn't really, it's not gonna happen until you can talk about it, but until you actually put it in motion and start doing it. That's the key. But talk a little bit more about the failure. How important is it, you feel like it is to fail?
Failure is just, if not more important than winning. Because it teaches you what not to do and how not to do it again. It's kind of like, if you got this, it's kind of like with me. I didn't know wontons and spring rolls wouldn't be a hit in the South. Little did I know people like fried food and seafood. That's it. That's what they want. They don't want fancy food unless they're trying to go to a nice restaurant. They're gonna ask where the fries at and where the fried food is. I didn't want to take that route, so I stuck to seafood. So I needed to fail. I mean, I was out there, 10 people in line a day. Yeah, that wasn't hot. I couldn't pay my bills. I had eviction notices, a lot of them. But I needed to fail to understand that, okay, maybe this isn't working. I need to fail advertising-wise to know that people aren't paying attention to me.
But it forced you to go back to the drawing board and kind of correct some of your mistakes. What would you say is the biggest lesson you've learned so far in business?
The biggest lesson I've learned in business is make sure all your paperwork is straight. That's business license, if you need any type of insurance, all that. Because you'll be surprised what can go wrong and when it can go wrong. Right. So no, that's the biggest lesson.
And so far, what would you say keeps you motivated?
Honestly, I have a point to prove. And the point that I have to prove is, here in Columbia, it's a thing where people think they have to be in certain groups to be successful. And at no point in time did I need those groups to be successful. Right now, I am the only African American in the whole world to win a national food truck competition. I didn't have to kiss up to anybody. I didn't have to go to any networking events. I didn't have to be anybody's do boy. I just did it. So that's what I'm trying to teach is individuality. They act like it's a played out thing, but you can make it on your own by surrounding yourself with positive people.
Create your own opportunity. That's exactly like we were saying off camera. Is exactly what I had to do. I heard so many times. I was like, you know what? Let me just use that as motivation to create my own platform. And so, like I said, we've been all over, and now we're here in Columbia, sitting with you, and I appreciate it. So it's like, you definitely. I want to inspire people to create your own opportunity. Right. You never know what you can do. We all have greatness inside of us, so you definitely have to kind of put yourself on at times.
Oh yeah.
If nobody give you a chance, then you just have to put your own way, and you can learn so much from it.
Oh yeah,
as well. But also with the twist, when you in the restaurant, did you have to look for like seafood? Were you looking for something that was different from all the restaurants, like as far as seafood instead of like you said fried chicken, soul food, right?
Yeah, it's more like when I first did it, I was like the first one to do it. So when I did it, I was looking for something different to bring. Right now, seafood is kind of like chicken wings. Everybody wants to do it because everyone wants to do it. Because it's kind of like chicken wings. So when I did it, I wanted to do something different. I wanted to create a different lane. I never mind anybody else being in the craft because it's food. I mean, everybody's going to do a certain type of food. The reason some people aren't as successful is for the simple fact that they never understood the price cost, how much it would take to advertise. But everything it takes for is like the plate, silverware. If you're going to sell, how much you're going to sell. When this goes, like the seasons for this. Can I sell this fresh? Do I get this frozen? Price point. Like people forget that and they jump into it because they see you doing it. So they fail because they see other people's success, not knowing the plan behind it.
If you could, just a couple of questions I'd like to ask a lot of all the guests at the moment. If you could go back and do something different, what would you say?
I could go back and do something different. What would I do? Honestly, this may seem wrong. Nothing. And the reason I say that is because every lesson that I learned, I'm glad I learned it because at some point it helped me out through certain situations. I needed to bump my head.
What characteristics do you say an entrepreneur must possess?
First of all, ambition, drive, tenacity. You have to stay steadfast. 'Cause I mean, when no one else believes in you, what you gonna do? You gonna give up?
The blueprint. I love to ask people this as well. If you could lay out a blueprint for a successful business for people listening, what would you say?
Success. I would first say, understand your craft, write it down, apply, redo it. The reason I say that is because it may not work the first time. Go back to the drawing board. Now that you got it written down, you know what not to do. Scratch that off. Go back and redo it again. And then once you get that successful ratio, it's already written down. You know how to do it again.
When did you feel like you probably feel like you kind of mastered your craft? I know you say you had to watch some videos and different things like that. When did you feel like you mastered?
The moment I felt like I realized I mastered my craft was when I was actually making plates. And I had a whole full-blown conversation, and I just did 10 individual orders without even knowing it. That's when I realized, like, okay, I can kind of do this right now without even paying attention to where before it's like, gotta make sure I do this right. Nah, that's not the right amount. I was just talking like, yeah, man, you see that game last night?
Yeah.
That way to do it, man. You said, next thing I was like, oh, these places already went out? It's like, oh, I'm to that level now.
The repetition of it.
Right, yeah.
When you make different ingredients, do you experiment at home, or you don't try to bring it to business, try something different? Or it's like, I'm gonna try it at home first, and then if it pans out pretty good, then I'll.
Okay, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna tell you something that most chefs will probably get mad at. I don't even taste it, and I'm gonna be completely honest. I don't taste it. Other people do, because it doesn't matter if I like it. It matters if everyone else likes it. Yeah. So me liking it is kind of like, okay, cool. But if everybody else on the outside dislikes it, I can't sell it to them.
Right.
So I get a gang of my friends and be like, yo, what do you think? And I may taste it months down the road. They just
people that are objective.
Yeah, like people who would just tell like, Ken, yo, that sucks. Like, why you even think of that? You put a sock in this or something? Like, nah, I need those individuals to tell me. Right. So that's why I have them around.
Just a few more questions and then we'll wrap up. Do you have any other future business endeavors?
Right now I'm doing real estate. So I'm loving the real estate technique. I'm learning more about land, property, owning. Owning is everything. I don't want to lease my whole life away. No. I want to own.
That's something we talk about all the time, just ownership. And, having our own, like you said, not leasing anything. Do you feel like being in the real estate will kind of help you, kind of give you an advantage of some things like when you want to expand your business, like that's where we can find different places to set up?
Real estate is definitely a key thing in my next business endeavor because I don't want to lease anymore. No one should want to lease and rent their life away. So no, with real estate, I can find different spots. Yeah, definitely.
How long have you actually been doing the real estate?
I just got licensed in, I would say September, last September.
Yeah. So you feel like is the restaurant more of your passion as opposed to doing the real estate? Or is it kind of like a hobby?
I think that the restaurant is my passion. I love to make people smile through food. Real estate is slowly becoming up there because it's more like I can get people in the houses who never thought they could own anything.
Right.
So it's still, I get that same smile, just with a different approach. Mm-hmm. So I'm loving it.
And this should be like I believe South Carolina overall is grown because of so many companies coming down this way, BMW and everything we have going on. So that drive, does that help in the real estate market for you?
Yeah, most definitely. The more people that's moving here helps to reconstruct Columbia. Like I said, we talked about it. I'm originally from East Atlanta. We didn't start growing until like after the '96 Olympics. What that did was it changed old Atlanta, had to move. And so I love it because what we talked about earlier, you had to be part of a certain group. Mm-hmm. Now we got people moving in from California, New York, Jersey, DC. So that certain group, those old people, now have to shift over because now you have a new group of people that's making rules. So
yeah, we talk about the where we work at. We have so many people coming from all over. We have some people that come from our school. We were talking to America when they came from Michigan. They said they have a home up there and they also have one down here. And they come down here when it starts to get warm. When it gets cold up there, they'll come down here this way. But it's just something they say they like to do. They just like to move around and different things like that. But one of my final questions is, what is your ultimate goal?
My ultimate goal is to teach, it's honestly individuality. And the reason I say individuality is because there's so many people who don't want to be themselves because they're afraid of certain things. And so me being successful in what I do shows, it gives people permission, not saying they need my permission, but it shows them like I can do this without needing all this help. My goal is to change the South. Because when you think of the South, it has a stigma to it. You know, black people more, yes sir.
Yeah.
I'll shake for you, Mr. Bojangles.
Yeah,
so my thing is to show you that you can stand upright, and when people talk to you of other cultures, you can do the same thing.
Yeah, I appreciate it. But one quick question before we go. You said that down in South Carolina, when you lived in Atlanta, you came here. Was it kind of like a culture shock, or was it how was it?
It was a major culture shock, and the reason I say it's a major culture shock was people were so happy doing overtime here that it was shocking to me. Like coming from Atlanta, they looked at you differently. You know, East Atlanta, Lithonia, Stone Mountain. Everybody was entrepreneurs. So you had a name tag on. They were looking at you like you were foreign. Like, oh, you work for somebody? So when I came down here, my very first job, people was like, man, when I get these 10 hours overtime, it's going to be a check. And I'm just like, why don't you just open your own business? Nah, I don't want to do that. So
why do you think entrepreneur? I know it said we was going to wrap it up, but why do you think entrepreneurship is looking so different upon around here?
They're not used to seeing people that looks like them opening up anything. Some people are so content working for other people that you try to open up your own stuff, they just say, nah, you just stick to those good old benefits over there. Don't ruin that money, not knowing that you can make that money and get your own benefits on your own. So they never saw it, then they don't believe it can happen.
And I feel like we kind of sell ourselves short at times. Like we'll look for that Monday through Friday job with the weekends off, or that 9 to 5, and that way, and the job that gives us benefits. And if we have that, we're good. We don't even try to think of anything else. We'll stay at that job
until they leave, until they fire us, until they go on, until you don't get a pension, until you don't get a 401k. It's kind of like you leave your destiny in the hands of somebody else to feel comfortable. And that I never understood.
Exactly. And it's insane. It's like you have to get comfortable with being uncomfortable.
Right.
I don't want to just settle, just looking back saying, man, I wish back then I would at least took that chance and just waited. Like I said, job, I tell people all the time, jobs, when they're done with you, they're done. And even on a little sport, and even on a higher scale, look at Dez Bryant. He thought he would be a Cowboy forever. His numbers started declining, and big pay, they had to pay him, and he people's out the door.
It's a numbers and money game. You're only worth to them how much money you can. You're only worth to them how much you put in.
Absolutely.
Once you can't put in, your worth goes down.
And they move on.
Yep.
Well, I appreciate you. We want to thank you for having us here. And I know, like I said, one of my friends on Facebook, I told we were going to actually be here. But shout out my man DP. When I posted we were going to be here, he said the food is amazing. So that lets you know we're an hour and a half away, maybe a little bit on the hour and a half away. So that lets you know that you've already reached us in the upstate. So
That's good.
So we greatly appreciate you. Before we get out of here, can you tell everybody where to find you?
Yeah, the Twist, 9300 Two Notch Road, Columbia, South Carolina, Suite L. Look for the Twist sign. It got some trees and everything. No crabs on it, but it's got trees.
All right, well, I appreciate you. And also, thank you again to Miss Charlene's Home Cooking for sponsoring this episode. So until next time, you chase your dreams. This is Cross Line Podcast. Thank you for listening.